Greetings, traveler. I am Sir Nox, the teller of tales. Would you like to hear one? Well, before we get started, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that bell for notifications so you know when more stories come out. We're still a growing channel and that helps immensely. Thank you so much. Our first story is called DM Runs Curse of Strahd, claiming it being his home brew and forces players into playing LOL characters. This one will be a bumpy ride, so buckle up. Also, English is not my first language, so sorry mistakes. As any other good horror story, this one starts at LFG. A few months ago, I've stumbled upon small advertisement in our local LFG about roleplay heavy game, and decided that I have enough spare time to give it a go. I've been invited to a Discord server with only one other dude. Server was too big for a regular game, and soon I figured out that few games were running here by few DMs. DM invited us to voice chat and started explaining his homebrew world, and then announced that game would be the Curse of Strahd. Wasn't mentioned in the advertisement, and DM started explaining that game will be in fact homebrew in his homebrew world. He just needed a name for big vampire villain and didn't want to use Dracula. The dude left immediately as he didn't sign up for a module, and I should have followed him. But I really wanted to play some of my characters in a roleplay heavy group, so I stayed. Stupid past me. DM then went on a rant about how the dude was wrong, and his character idea was stupid anyway. He wanted to play a Forge Cleric. What kind of concept is that, am I right? Well, this was the biggest red flag, and at this point I realized that this will be some bullish game, and even if I won't be able to have a good game, I will be able to have a good laugh. So I kinda knew where we were going, but I couldn't know how huge will be the boom. Then DM asked me for my concepts. I offered him 4 or 5. He said they all didn't fit his world. I exclusively play small races, but he doesn't have any in his world. No kobolds, no goblins, no gnomes, no halflings. Anyway, only people who min-max play halflings. There is no other reason. Okay, I have 3 beloved concepts at the moment, and they are not small, but still don't fit. No dragonborns, no monks, no artificers, blood hunters, okay, but I won't let you play it. It's underpowered. Who even plays Phaelox? At some point, he sends me some character reference and asks, what if it would be a Nordic tiefling ranger? Okay, so we have my character, Tyra. DM suggests me few character traits and reasons why she's not on North right now. We establish her connections. DM tells me she should have some kind of blinking, and it's important to the plot somehow. I agree and pick Horizon Walker subclass. So we start our session 1. Of course, there was no session 0. The cast. DM, he is just that. Tyra, my girl. Paladin, owner of the server and DM of other game where our DM and Bladelock are playing. Bladelock, very special elven woman and sister of Paladin. Phaelock, young and curious girl. Artificer, some old friend of DM. Well, he told me that he doesn't want any artificers, but here is one. Maybe she just had better character concept. From the start, my Tyra is assigned as a bodyguard to Artificer. I'm okay-ish with that. We meet as a party somewhere, 3 hours of game in, and it's going pretty well actually. Players are great, DM is good storyteller, and he puts a lot of effort in visuals and music. Fun so far. I've made Tyra a little bit brutish, but putting a lot of nature-related metaphors. Our interactions with Artificer are fun as well. We are all going to Artificer's old mansion, and when we find it, I realize it's a death house. I'm not running a module, he said. So yeah, Artificer is the last of her family. Others were slain by Strahd, and this is her mansion. We enter and explore all floors, but there is 0 encounters. There is some BS in the basement, we kill it. DM tells us we can't stop session until we finish. It's almost 7 hours of play. At the end, he says, you did a bad job. Our party is unbalanced. We have only one frontliner who gets obliterated in 2 rounds. Somehow, only my character did okay, or so he says. Only one of us get downed in combat, but he wants everything to be very realistic, so if you don't patch yourself immediately after being hit, you die. Role-playing part was fun, though I'm still on board. We all stay to talk after session, and DM says, I want to play D&D with friends, so we all must become friends. Every evening we sit and chat. Come sit with us. I have some neurotic problems with coming in places I wasn't personally invited, so I announced that telling that I can come if you will announce the gathering in some way. We all leave. I text DM after the game asking if I can change my subclass so it will fit melee playstyle more, and he is okay with that, but he mentions that I will still need blinking for plot reasons, and he will make me a feat that I must take. Okay, I guess? Session 2 comes. We all sit in a death house, drinking tea and making plans on how to renovate this place to live here. DM says that we can't stay here, we need to leave to Barovia, so we go. We go there, meet Istmark. He tells us about the place and about Irina. We totally not playing module here. He changed things a bit. To be honest, Irina and Istmark are lovers now. We totally are not, according to module, escort Irina to Vallaki. I have a great time interacting in character, but Paladin is mostly silent. Phalok meets her patron, and it's LOL character. DM praises LOL for characters being written good every minute of his life. We end the session, and DM says to Phalok player, in disappointed tone, I expected your character act otherwise. Weird to hear such things. Oh well. DM stalls ranting that nobody came to voice chat to be friends, and so we all leave. Artificer PMs me to discuss our character's relationship, and we talk a little bit about our characters. She says, oh, you have Nordic Ranger with blinks. I played this character in DM's previous game. She has a nice story. What? She says that she played with this DM before, and she played Nordic Rogue with some blinks, and it was a lot of fun. I find it disturbing that DM just decided to give me someone's story, despite me being proud with my backstory, but I decide not to call him out. Session 3. We fight some random centaurs on the way to Vallaki. DM says that we are doing bad, none of us are downed, so he makes last centaur run away. We reach Vallaki. There is certainly not from module Isaac give us bad time, and DM is pushing us to fight him. Bladelock at this point is our party face, so she does most of interactions with NPCs. All of them pressure her not to kill Isaac, but remove him somehow. We get there and start fighting guards in a small hall, but we all roll badly and can't kill a single guard in 3 rounds. So some rebels arrive and we go on a small stairs to floor 2. Isaac is standing in front of us. Here everything is going to crap. So I ask DM if I can transfer my hunter's mark to Isaac. He says no. I was running a whole minute on a 40-foot staircase. I don't object. I don't like to argue with the DM in the middle of the game. So we start fighting. Me and Paladin frontlining. I cast Zephyr Strike to leave Isaac's melee range, as I don't have much HP left, and throw axes from afar. Then I asked DM if I could pick up one of my axes near Isaac as item interaction. He says sure. I come in melee range and leave. He says, he will make opportunity attack. I have Zephyr Strike on me still. I don't provoke opportunity. He has a special ability, so do you. Can I read the ability? No, I didn't write it down. Okay, so he hits me and I'm unconscious. Bladelock, who was told like 40 times by some NPC that we need Isaac alive, asks if she can throw a knife to his knee to make her ranged attack not lethal. He doesn't allow, so she came closer and hits him in melee, misses, as she had crappy bonus to melee. Isaac crits on her brother, leaving him one-eyed. Of course, we had injuries in our roleplay heavy game. We eventually win, but everyone is frustrated. Tyra insists on cutting Isaac's arm off with necessary medical preparation. DM says okay, but Artificer and Bladelock players start arguing that it's not realistic, and if he can die to dagger to the knee, then he certainly can die to arm being cut off. So DM rage quits. He could have been a good ending to this story, but he comes back to apologize in half an hour. He gathers us all and announces that 2 characters will die next session. I say LOL, me and Paladin of course, we are the only melee. DM says no, it won't be Tyra. We all sit silent. Like, is it okay to plan death of a character in roleplay heavy game in session 4? I don't think so. Artificer calls DM in private voice call to ask him not to kill her character because she likes her and she is going through some stuff IRL and doesn't want any more stress, only to figure out that he plans to kill Artificer and Bladelock. We don't talk about it much and session 4 is coming. There's some things going on server which spice things up a bit. So there is 3 games currently. One run by Paladin, one by DM, and Bladelock is gathering new players to start her own. She invited a few last week. One of them is a miner who is enthusiastic in drawing her cute druid. DM plays in all 3 games. So day of the game comes, and I got messaged by DM half an hour before the start to come to voice chat. Bladelock left the server, he says. She didn't give any reasoning to anyone. She left their gaming group in a messenger and blocked DM. She also left all her newfound players on the server. We sit for a little bit, till Artificer and Phalok enter voice chat, and we start discussing what could happen. Paladin was supposed to be absent that session. I get angry at first because I don't like when people ghost, but then one of her players, Mina, says that she got a text which explains that Bladelock found this server toxic and couldn't stand it anymore. We confront DM, as last evening they were playing LOL together in voice and he is the only one who could know anything. He makes a guess. She left because you didn't want to be friends and never sit and voice with us. We shrug as it's hard to believe, but he claims it as a working theory. We discuss a few more possible reasons as other new players, we will call him Rogue, enters the voice and blames DM for bullying Bladelock into leaving. When Bladelock invited new players, DM felt obligated to call them in voice and explain how we play here. Rogue wanted to play a rogue, so DM called him to make sure he won't steal from the party and understands that playing halfling rogue is dumb. He makes Minor Girl cry with criticizing her character, and every time he gets into voice chat with Bladelock, he pressured her to play her character how he sees it. After all, he assigned her that character. We are all sitting and listening to Rogue's story silently. DM says that all Rogue is saying BS and asks sarcastically, "Maybe I assigned characters to anyone else?" Yes, to me," I speak up. "And me," says Phalok. "And me, actually," says Artificer. I sat there silently. Both Artificer and Phalok entered this game after me. He told me no to both of these classes, and then he forced someone else to play them. DM is trying to stabilize the situation. He kicks Rogue from voice chat and starts persuading us that we picked our own characters by ourselves. But all three of us are standing our ground at this point and trying to talk to DM and explain to him that his actions lead to Bladelock leaving the server and not wanting anything to do with TTRPGs anymore. He says, "Yes, it might be that, but she also might leave because we didn't sit and voice like friends." Then Paladin shows up. He says that he bans DM from his server and reads us a message from Bladelock, which sounds like she was abused by DM. A lot. We all leave, but the story doesn't end. Me, Artificer, and Phalok have other common servers at which we gather to discuss what just happened. An Artificer tells us about their previous game, which also broke up because of the DM's BS. He apparently lied to them about his age, as 2 years ago he was 20, and a few days prior, our last session, he told us that he had his 20th birthday. He once even lied about his father dying to stop the session. She didn't know it was lies, but she figured out later and she hoped that he got better. When we were generating Tyra, he told me about his roleplay group and showed me a few commissions of his character. I googled them and obviously it wasn't his character or commissions. I don't know what else he lied about, but when he created another server and invited us, only Artificer joined to support his friend, just to later be blamed for second group breaking up because of her, as per DM. I contacted Paladin and he got his character assigned as well. He wanted to play Ranger, but DM didn't allow to force me into playing Ranger. All the times he was silent at game, he just didn't want to play his character. So yeah, you probably didn't figure it out, but all our characters were LOL characters. My blinking Nordic BS, Phalok, was Nico all along. I struggle to name others as I don't play League. I just hope Bladelock will forgive us and consider trying TTRPG sometime again. That sounds like an absolute nightmare to have to be a part of that, but it doesn't surprise me that much as it seems that most people seem to have some sort of experience like this. Maybe it's just the territory of this game after all. It is unfortunate that you had to deal with that, and it seems like it could have been a fun campaign, but the DM was an absolute manipulative, lying, narcissistic person, which happens sometimes, but at least you caught it and you're able to all leave away from it and not have to deal with it anymore. Unfortunately, sometimes you just have to deal with these things. Hopefully that you are able to get your friend back and actually convince them to keep playing, as it is a lot of fun. Well, that concludes our tale for today. If you'd like to hear another, come back and I shall tell you one. If you'd like to hear another right now, perhaps watch another video. There's a few off to the side.